enjoying the job?
I'm loving it. Yeah. It's an absolute honour to be here. I'm grateful every day, and I want to do everyone justice, and I want to give it everything we've got. And I look a bit more tired than I did 6 weeks ago, but I am enjoying it.
What should Rangers fans expect from Victoria Pilsen tomorrow evening? What are their qualities?
They're a strong team. They're a very powerful team, athletic team. They're very they play forward quickly, run forward quickly. They commit a lot of numbers forward. Very good set plays. So they're a really well organised team, really aggressive team. So we have to make sure we are matching them and outrunning them and more aggressive than them in every area of the pitch.
That was the Rangers head coach Russell Martin speaking to Kenny McIntyre ahead of Rangers Champions League qualifying against Victoria Pilsen at Ibrox tomorrow. You'll be able to watch that live on the BBC Scotland channel. Willie Miller, Russell Martin didn't miss his players after that Motherwell game on the weekend. What did you make of the comments he made post-match?
Well, I think as long as he said it in the dressing room, I think that's the most important part of a manager's job, is to make sure that if you're going to say something to the press, afterwards, that it's not going to be a surprise to the players the next day when they turn up to training. If he's actually, and I had a manager who used to go, nose to nose with you to explain what he thought about you after a game. Nah, not so much me written off, but mostly my teammates. Which was okay, and I think as long as you're saying it in the dressing room, then you can take it out, because the players aren't surprised then. It's if you don't say it in the dressing room, if you leave it with no comment after. I don't think any manager would do that, but what he's saying to the press, he's got to be saying that, and he's got to be explaining it as well. He's got to be explaining what he means. We can take ego a little bit out of context, as though the players aren't really, it's all about them and they're not interested in the team. That's how a fan, I think, and someone listening to the comment, but I think he explained it reasonably well there. And as long as he's telling his players what he's telling the fans and what he's telling the press, and I think it's okay. I think sometimes you need that wake-up call, particularly if the performance hasn't been good. I mean, really difficult to mask that. I know some managers will.
He's putting out a marker, isn't he?
Yes,
that's what I feel. I feel that he's not going to let them away with anything. And he's pointing out the frailties almost immediately. And as a player, you want to know, don't you? You don't want your manager going out slaughtering you to the press, and then in the dressing room he's saying something completely different. So, yeah, I think he's a fairly experienced manager now, and I think he knows exactly what he's doing.
Do you think, Craig, or were you surprised to hear that sort of strong response come so early in the season, though?
I think if you let it go, that's more troublesome. I think if you see it, feel you've got to say something about it, then I think that's the right thing to do. And the players know that if they put on a similar performance, they'll do the same thing again. And as long as it doesn't go totally overboard, then I think it's quite important to put down markers.
Yeah, and he said himself, if he's having to do this on a regular basis, then he's got a problem.
Yeah.
And he has got a problem, and it doesn't work. What the players have now got to do is they've got to take that on board, what he said. They don't go away in the huff or just ignore it. He's explained it to them. He's told them in the dressing room, and he'll be looking for changes from them. He'll be looking for changes of attitude and work rate. And until you get that, then you're not going to be successful in this game, and you're not going to be successful when you're chasing Celtic as well. Your Rangers and chasing Celtic. We all know how important that is for the club itself and for the fans. And until they can raise their level to be as consistent as Celtic is, then, and that's why he's been brought here. He's been brought here to change the mentality, isn't it? And to challenge
Celtic.
Yeah.
Well, what have you made of Rangers so far under Russell Martin, Craig? Obviously disappointing against Motherwell at the weekend, but they obviously came through a really tough qualifier against Panathinaikos when, maybe rode their luck at times, but also showed that kind of character and determination that maybe Russell Martin's alluding to. What have you made of the early stages of his reign?
Well, I think everybody knew exactly what style of football that Russell was going to bring to Rangers, and I think with the amount of domination they have of the ball in most of the games in Scotland, then a manager like Russell playing the way he wants to play is doable for Rangers. So, for me, I think it was a good appointment. I mean, I think sometimes you look from afar, you don't know what you've got players-wise, and maybe some of those players raised their game for the European, the European match against Panathinaikos. But there's another thing. I don't know how many of those players are consistently played in Europe. It's really difficult to go and play in Europe midweek and come back and face a Motherwell team who were up for it for sure. And if you let your guard down at all, you can get caught. And I think the more often that you play in Europe and you understand what it's all about, the easier it becomes.
I think obviously the result was over the two legs was just exactly what was required, but it wasn't particularly good performances. Particularly Ibrox in the early stages of that game, and I thought they rode their luck very much. In fact, I thought Panathinaikos was really, really wasteful in front of goal. They had a number of opportunities and they didn't take them. So I think there was a little bit of fortune there, but hey, you take that fortune when it comes your way. There's plenty of times in the game where you don't get that good fortune, and it's allowed them a little bit of breathing space, and it gives them good standing within the fans as well, taking through that tie. Not an easy tie, that's for sure. But then you've got to be able to cope with the European games as well. You've got to be able to cope with playing in Europe and then playing, in the domestic game 4 days later. And I keep hearing this about, and I keep bringing it up, but yes, it's difficult when you're playing so many games, but at the same time, you can't use it constantly as an excuse for non-performance.
No, a team that wants to be at the top end of the Scottish Premier League can't afford to come back from European trips and have a hangover. You just can't afford for it to happen. Whether that involves maybe changing the personnel for the game when you come back, but he needs to find a way of winning those matches that on paper look like Rangers should win them, and that's the key to staying close to Celtic, is not to drop points against anybody else.
And I suppose in these qualifiers, Willie, it's just about getting through them. Victoria Pilsen tomorrow. Some people might look at that and maybe think they've come through a tougher test than Panathinaikos. I'm not sure how true that is or not, but do you fancy Rangers to get through this one?
I think you've got to perform. I think, at European level, and to be perfectly honest, I don't know the bones of the team that they're playing, so it's really difficult to give you an informed opinion in that. You know that Rangers have started the season okay, the result's been okay, performance against Motherwell was poor. So at home, I think it's really important at home that you take that home advantage, the atmosphere at Ibrox as well, make sure that you're using that. But it's about consistency, it's about taking whatever teams put in front of you and making sure that you're well prepared. I'm sure they will be well prepared. They'll know the style of the opposition, and he'll be able to set his team up, or if he just wants to play the same style of football, I think that's fine. I mean, Celtic play the same style of football. I mean, you know how they're going to play before you play them. That doesn't mean to say that you can stop them beating you. So if he wants to play a certain style, it's just constantly working on that style, getting the players to buy into it, taking all these games as they come, and no matter who the opposition is, believe that you can win.
Well, a couple of bits of news out of Ibrox today. Rangers announced the signing of the Finnish international Oliver Antman. The 23-year-old winger has signed a 4-year deal after arriving from the Dutch side Go Ahead Eagles. He scored 8 goals and provided 16 assists in the Eredivisie last season. And one other bit of news from Rangers, and that's the appointment of Leanne Crichton as the new head coach of the Rangers women's team. And Willie, it looks like we're a pundit down this season. Leanne Crichton taking her first steps into the dugout.
Yeah, we do okay for Rangers, don't we? We gave them a whole coaching team last season towards the end of it, and good luck to Leanne. I mean, it was an opportunity for us. She's been great to work with, very intelligent pundit, and I think that does, her performance in the BBC is certainly helped her, along with her performance as a coach as well. So when you put all that together, very good communicator and knows the game. So we wish her well. It's going to be a tough challenge, no doubt.
It's a good gig for her though, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, fantastic gig, without doubt, fantastic. and she'll be looking forward to it, and she'll be looking forward to embracing the challenge that lies ahead.
Yeah, best of luck to Leanne Crichton in her new role as Rangers women's head coach. We are around 15 minutes away from kick-off at Tynecastle. Hearts versus Aberdeen in the Premiership, and Brian McLaughlin has been speaking to the Hearts manager, Derek McInnes.
Well, Derek, seems to have been a long time coming this match, doesn't it?